It's okay. We're balling. Because I'm forgetting. This is also...
Don't forget to breathe.
Does that count as breathing? Because I forgot. This is technically like vinyl promo. I'm going to say a little bit about that too.
Cool.
Okay. Balling.
Okay, I'll count you in.
Hello and welcome to...
Thank you, Poppy.
Poppy, I gotta get through my intro. Hello there, and welcome to an interview with IMPALA. My name is Nicolas Babick. I use he, they, she pronouns. I am the owner and operator of Cyan Records, which, if you don't know, is the record label that just released the first ever vinyl issue for IMPALA's debut album, Rubber. Behind the camera, we have Erie Gerstorff, she, he pronouns. Without her, this interview would not be possible, so big shout out to Erie. Woo! Let's go, shout out. And then on the couch, we have three members from the international electronic band IMPALA. On your left, you have Underscores, aka Milkfish, she, her pronouns. On your center, we got Cat, they, them pronouns. And on the right here, we got Nutra, she, they pronouns. Nutra is on vocal and full body rest today, per doctor orders. Got kind of fucked up at the show last night.
She's alright.
She'll heal.
She's here.
She'll get her arms back eventually.
Yeah.
But before we started, I just wanted to channel our inner Nardwar a little bit and give you both some gifts. We have some bootleg cassettes of the show last night recorded by our technical director, Erie.
Oh, yeah.
And those are for you to keep.
We actually got these before the show.
Before
the show, so.
Damn.
What?
I'm not surprised because we already got it.
What?
What?
Why didn't you tell me? I didn't get this.
We wanted to keep the surprise.
Wow.
Well, thank you very much. This is crazy.
Yeah, I'm very
I didn't know you could turn it. I don't know how cassettes work. I just didn't know you could turn it around like immediately.
It's like a tape.
I don't know either. That was all Erie.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny tape.
I love it.
All right, well, actually, the first thing I wanted to talk about was that show. So for context, this is being recorded the day after FORMFEST Seattle. Today's July 12th, 2024. So the first thing I wanted to ask is just, how did it go? What did it feel like finally being on stage in a real-life venue in the context of IMPALA?
Right. I felt right. I've waited so long to play. I've daydreamed about playing the IMPALA show since we formed. Yeah, so I think something about making a group on the internet, you're kind of like, odds are stacked against you. Like, I don't know, it just felt really, really good.
Did it feel like what you envisioned when you were initially conceptualizing live shows?
A bit. I think a long time ago I wouldn't have been like seeing myself singing, playing guitar. But I think once the live show started to become more of a reality, it was just like, actually, that's what I want to do. So, I had a good time. I do wish that we could have had, Helvetica and Script with us.
Because that's what I was daydreaming about when we started, was having like all the members up there.
Yeah.
Hard with the visas and stuff to get everything sorted.
That's kind of what happens when you have members in 4 different countries.
Yeah.
But it's like that you both got to play.
I mean, it's a strength and a weakness, but I like to view it more like a strength, because we get all those the different perspectives and stuff. I've said that in like a billion interviews before, but yeah, I think it's a good thing. It's just something that's challenging to deal with, but I think we kind of finally decided that we just wanted to do a fucking show.
Yeah, it's been like 7 years.
It's been 7 years.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, all right, we've tried to do the visa stuff, and we will continue to try.
Yeah.
But it is a lengthy process that sucks.
Yeah. There will be definitely at some point, like we definitely will do like a full member show, and that'll be like the first
full
first
100%
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a 60%
5
show.
of us. This was a 40% show, wasn't it?
No, it would be 60% because Nutra.
Yeah.
Don't forget Nutra.
No, but we're 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. 60%.
My
60%.
That is 60%.
So this is a
60%. No, it is
60% show, but the 100% show, like,
I can't do math, I guess.
will happen, but like probably not for like years or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
In 2066, the first ever
yeah.
all-member live show will happen.
Yeah.
But obviously, even though this was your first in-person live show, you've been no stranger to URLfests, whether it be, open pit events, Drunken Fist. So I wanted to ask you, how did the preparation for this differ from URLfests?
Well, this one we actually had to perform. The benefit of URLfest is that you get to, like, pre-develop, like, most of your ideas. We have definitely played some where, like, we live DJ'd them, but, a live show is a live environment with like an actual group of humans there. And I think what went into this one was like, I just started practicing a lot of different moments, and then we did some calls, put them together, and then had like a day to practice. I think you mentioned Drunken Fist. I think the amount of times we've done those have actually helped us with sort of performance chemistry.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was actually, it felt pretty natural.
Yeah.
Like, kind of just picked it up.
So the Drunken Fist actually kind of helped with the real life performance?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
well, the first time we ever performed together was at a Guitar Center in New York City.
Yeah.
On
the
a
Denon.
the Denon CDJs with the censor button, where like it has a cool button where it's a dedicated button for reversing the audio, but it won't like lose where you're at in the song. So you can like, I don't know, you can just like hold it to like tempo reverse the song. Well, and then it won't lose time, which is really fun. So we were messing around with that. And then yeah, we started doing Drunken Fist and High Kick, and we've done like 3 or 4 of those now. So
Nice.
those are fun.
They were very fun. I got to see, I think I was at the second one, I believe. And it was really fun. That was like 3 hours long or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, the first one we did was like 8 hours long or something.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like, it was like the sun rose.
Yes.
And it had completely devolved into like, we were like playing we put a Chili's commercial in there or something, and we're like a little ambient drone
just in the
under
middle of
it,
the
and we're
set, a
just,
Chili's
like,
commercial.
kind of like YouTube pooping it live
Yeah.
or something.
We were in our bedroom playing. I remember being like, we would like take turns like passing out.
Yeah.
and then I'd like pass out, and then I'd wake up, and then they'd still be playing music, and I'd be like, all right, and then I'd get on, and then somebody else would go lay down, and I don't know, it was just like fun.
I spilled a bunch of alcohol in there.
You did. you spilled the orange. No, it was the orange. It tasted like creamsicle.
So it was like sugary. Yeah.
Yeah, you spilled it all over the DJ controller.
So it was just like
I
sticky
don't
after
remember
that?
doing it either.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
Did it end up just being like really sticky after that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that's fucked up.
I did actually. It cleaned pretty well.
Oh, okay,
Honestly,
that's good.
it's just a MIDI
Sorry about
DJ
that.
controller. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
You don't even use it anymore.
I do.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I had 2 of them. Funnily enough, the other one died. But if
The one that didn't have soda poured on it died?
Yeah, like it I don't know, guess age. If you don't know Drunken Fist High Kick, just to explain it a bit, it's like these are sets where we get, the first time we did it, we were just drinking, and then we just decided that we wanted to, like, do a set, DJ together and have some fun. But we streamed it to the Discord server too. We used, at that time, I don't even think we used Discord to stream it. At that time, we used a service called Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
You remember Rabbit?
Forgot about Rabbit.
Yeah. Rabbit was like a way to like share streaming things. So we used that. I remember taping a webcam in like the corner of the room, and then we just got super drunk and DJ'd, and we started just like using random files on my computer. And like we started downloading random stuff, and like people would submit random demos, and we'd like, I'd have like,
Fly them in.
yeah, we just
On the
download
fly,
them on the fly. And
So you were
start playing
accepting
them.
live submissions and then playing
Yeah.
them on
We were
screen?
accepting requests.
Yeah, but they weren't even just like requests. They were like, people were like making things, like in the middle of us performing, they would like go make something silly and then send it to us.
But you could say, if it was 8 hours, they definitely have time to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing some.
On over.
Get it
Sit
together.
up.
Yeah, she went a little bit too crazy last
Yeah.
night. Shout out to anyone who like has the other parts of Nutra and is like, how many parts did she end up getting broken into?
I think like
Broken into
6 or 7. I think
Like
she got like pretty ripped
we
up.
signed some like
tiny ones.
Yeah.
I think like maybe there were 6 or 7 big pieces, and then I saw people started sharing. They started like ripping her legs apart, and you know, here's you can have like the shin, you can have the toes. So
There were like trade offers happening. I'll give you the toe if you give me the shin.
people were trading. Yeah,
That's sick.
there was some trading happening. Somebody got the mouth, like the mouthpiece, the tie.
We got part of her ear.
Someone got the middle finger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
whoever has the
somebody
middle
got the
finger,
middle
that's the real win.
I think EMTA got the middle finger.
Oh,
EMTA,
nice.
EMTA of Form. Form was the group that ran the event.
Shout out Emta, shout out Form.
Shout out Form. Shout out EMTA.
Shout out. I got a chance to see your band rehearsal on Wednesday before the show, and the best word that I could use to describe it was chaotic.
Yeah.
Even though you had a predetermined set list, it felt like you were still throwing out 1,000 ideas a minute. Does the process of making recorded music also feel like that, where you're kind of just throwing everything against the wall, or is it a little bit calmer?
I think the way we work, it is everything against the wall. I think we have a big skill that is required to do something like Six Impala is compromise and also be open-minded. And I think doing that for 7 years, we just kind of understand like where we're going.
It's changed a lot, though, I think.
It has, but I still feel like I can read your energy.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's like, I think like the behind the scenes kind of like workflow of working like with people across the globe and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like you figure it out over time and
Yeah.
stuff, and then you kind of lock something in over time. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that's a perfect segue to start talking about the creative process. In your Fucks With It interview, when We Fucking Love You to Death released, you mentioned how that album felt like a much more collaborative project than Rubber did. How does EARWAX compare, and like how it felt compared to We Fucking Love You to Death and Rubber?
EARWAX was honestly pretty isolating, and you know, with each of the projects, we try to be authentic with sort of where we're at and what's happening in the music. I think We Fucking Love You to Death was an opportunity for us to really commune for like the first time. We got to meet each other for the first time. We got to work on things with that energy, and I think that fed into the album. EARWAX was, you know, production started just before COVID, and it also started around when your career really started taking off in the Underscores project, and you know, all of us coming into adulthood as well. It was a very, I don't know, it's almost like we were just ending our teenager youth kind of years on We Fucking Love You to Death, and EARWAX is all of us entering adulthood and getting hit with, you know, life, dealing with life's problems and issues. And there was a lot of moments of distance between us. But I think the awesome part is that despite that, whenever we come together, it's still like, it's almost like we bring that life experience that we just went and got with us, and we bring it all to the table, and then we can all create with it. And I think that's what EARWAX is it's a lot of distance between us. I think there's a reason like that Simon is written the way that they are, is like a character who gets isolated and like loses their friends, and even like we do a lot of voice acting on that project. All of the voice acting in that project, save for Simon and a couple characters, which are actually my parents. They're all people from the community, which is intentional.
Wait, so the people saying hi, Simon, some of those are your parents?
No, actually, if you want to know who my parents are, my father voices the hockey announcer.
Oh,
Wax.
okay.
And my mom does the roller coaster scream in the intro for Wax.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So when you hear like in the background, there's a roller coaster and there's like somebody laughing and screaming.
Mm-hmm.
She also contributes to the Impala's voice as well.
Oh, okay, nice.
So, yeah.
And I guess we're tying into characters and just like the general story of Six Impala. How planned ahead does that tend to be? Are you like working album by album? Are you thinking 5 albums ahead?
Yeah, I tend to think of things in very whole ways. Like even when I'm like writing a song, the first thing I tackle is the song structure, because it gives me a like checkpoints and an endpoint. Is once you develop a structure, you can see the finish line, and that sort of keeps me going if I can see the finish line, no matter how big a project is. So for something like 6, we started with narrative because it was both something that I'm interested in, but also a way to differentiate ourselves from other SoundCloud groups at the time, because every single SoundCloud group was doing like compilation albums where it would be like, I was on a collective called Caps Lock Crew. As interesting as their history is, I do have a lot of appreciation for the people who ran Caps Lock Crew. Others might not. But they gave me a chance, and they would do these things where they had compilation albums where it's like 40 artists come together and just make different songs, and then they piled them together. Sometimes those are great. Other times they're kind of just like vehicles to get ad revenue to a platform. Anyways, I wanted narrative. I was like, I don't want to just do this. I don't want to just make product or a mixtape, even though those are cool and I don't have anything against them, but it's not what I wanted to do.
Well, it was also like at the time, like it was like 2017 or something, so there was still like SoundCloud collectives like out the wazoo and stuff, and like once we decided that we wanted to like become like a group or whatever, we kept getting like called a collective and stuff, because that's just what it like seemed like, and it like made the most sense because we had put music out separately under the same channel.
We still do.
And we still do. But I think like having like a narrative and stuff helped be like, oh, okay, no, this is like a band, essentially. Like this is like, you know, like they're going for this thing instead of like, because I do think there's like a lot, like the compilation album and stuff, like a lot of the like the Form compilation albums and stuff, I feel like it's like a really cool like come together like community thing and stuff. I think we were just going for like
just something different.
Yeah, we're like kind of like a band. Like, you know what I mean? Like
it was just like it just kind of I think we were like trying to say like, what are we? Are we like a group? Are we an act or whatever? And then we were like, no, let's just say we're a band. Yeah. Like let's just commit and say
band
we're a band.
group. I mean, some people, depending on like the corner of music you're in, use them synonymously. Some don't.
Yeah.
Like I think like the SoundCloud scene, there was like a little bit of bigger differentiation between those.
I think even honestly, hilariously, we all speak different languages. I think that was a contributor too. We were just kind of like, what are we like? What do we want to be? Like we were trying to root ourselves somewhere on something, and the narrative really gave us a way to do that. I had something I wanted to say about. You were talking about. Oh yes, I want to give an appreciation to Soda Island.
Soda Island,
Soda Island.
Soda Island.
Soda Island was a massive influence for us in the early stages.
Totally.
They were kind of like a collective that felt like they were doing narrative. It wasn't necessarily narrative, it was theme.
Yeah.
But it was like so good. There's
so good.
There's a song called like Witch's Hour, I think, which is just like it's like a folly piece with like audio storytelling. Okay. That major influence for me personally. I think what that song did for me is like how like intro gets made, like introduction.
Yeah.
Totally. So yeah.
Okay, and with a band that has a narrative and 4, 5 unique members with Nutra, I imagine there are sometimes conflicts in like what direction you want to take the narrative. How do you guys typically work out those differences? Like, how do you work through like, all right, this is the direction we're gonna go in, or get on the same page?
I just think it's mostly Kat.
Yeah.
I feel, you know, like I mean, I definitely like will have like input on the narrative and stuff, and like sort of how like to go about, you know, like direct like turning it into like music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the overarching narrative kind of just all comes from Kat. Like I do feel like it's like Six IMPALA is like, although it's a group, I do feel like Kat is kind of there's like a vision that they have that I feel like the rest of us are sort of you know, taking these broader ideas and like distilling them into specific stuff.
I remember in your Fucks with the interview, you talked about how with Rubber, there was a little bit more of a focus of everyone works on every song, and then with We Fucking Love You to Death, that sort of went away a little bit. So is it sort of similar to that, where like you're like focusing a lot on the story?
Honestly, the construction of the story It's very much like who we are and our lives and our differences informs the text. The text informs the themes, and the themes informs the music. And that's kind of like the root of it. The narrative is built in such a way where we can continue to have all of our works participate in the narrative, because that's fun for me. I really enjoy that. I grew up watching movies with my dad and my mom, and they would like point out like somebody would like hold a cup in one scene, and then like 2 scenes later it would pass and it would show them, and then like they're not holding the cup anymore. The cup's like somewhere else that doesn't make sense, and my parents would be like, continuity.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I like managing continuity. I like finding ways to make things make sense, even just to me. I don't really care. They don't make sense to other people. So the narrative structure has a lot of time has gone into just making sure that we can tell a story as ourselves in an open way, because I think once you start to limit, a narrative can become so limiting that it's like I'm telling you guys what to do, and that's sort of never a position I want to be in, because our strength is our diversity of sensibilities, and I don't want to hinder that. So the narrative has been built to be like all encompassing, and to allow for that. So originally on Rubber, I was a little more. I think that's why Rubber feels like a little more of a linear story, because I was going for that. This was like our first attempt at it.
Yeah.
Actually, we got into some fights over stuff like that, frankly, during the process. Excuse me. And I sort of learned from that. And then when we went into We Fucking Love You to Death, I was a little more like, what if the music isn't so bullet point like narrative, and instead is like we have some key moments that I own, and I'm very much like, okay guys, like this moment has to happen, and then everything in between is like we can explore the themes of the meaning of why that happened, or we can explore themes of like the world or the story that add to it. A good example on EARWAX is like it sets the stage for who Simon is, what their motivation is, what they care about, where they're at, what their problem is, and then what they're like, how they're going to try to tackle it. It's like all these in one. And the rest of the album is like exploring themes of isolation. Like from it's like Wax and then Find the Answer, and then literally from there it's is it Eardrum,
and then Sticky Helix.
Eardrum all the way to Thank You for the Octopus. Like every song all the way to Thank You for the Octopus is moments of isolation and exploring like, Helvetican, what do you think of this? Like when we worked on Floating Point, or like Script, what do you think of No Longer? Like I had Script help me with No Longer, and just kind of like getting their perspectives on isolation, and just using that. Like, don't worry about like the song has to, a character has to pop up and say this, or like this sound effect has to play. Those moments are wonderful when you can make them happen, but I think for a full album, for multiple albums, for a whole project, I can't. That would not be realistic, nor fun for us, nor fun for you. So yeah, it's kind of over time developed into its own sort of fluid process, but I have a lot of internal documentation that I use to manage consistency.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like,
So like the Charlie Dames, like all the like
no,
walls
it's
covered
real
papers.
like that.
It is like
It's
that.
crazy.
It is like that.
And it's like I did a lot of that stuff for like Wall Socket, and I thought I was crazy, but it's like
It's like way worse.
It's like a 10-year plan. Like it's like, it's deep, you know. Like it's like it's yeah.
So the answer
it's
5
like-
albums. You're planning 5+ albums ahead.
More. I'm setting up. Well, we're trying
It's
to
like
set
outside
up.
of albums. Like it's like other. Like it's
Yeah.
like, it's
It's everything.
Everything.
All encompassing.
Yeah.
encompassing.
It's like an entire situation.
I'm
It's
trying-
all like seems pretty feasible in time and stuff. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Is that ever overwhelming at points where you're like, oh my god,
No,
this
I
is
love
so
it.
much?
No,
It's my life's
hype.
It's my life's work.
So like you're like all for it. You're like, what the hell is happening?
No, I'm hype. Like it's like I'm because I'm totally like, well, yeah, that's like I don't know. It all kind of makes sense to me. I feel like that's the thing where it's like like the rest of us are coming in with like our perspectives on these like larger themes and stuff, and then it all kind of seems to work out. And I'm sure that's like a lot of, Cat's like sort of curation at the end of it and like direction, trying to get it to fit in the thing. But I do think like there is still like a lot of creative synergy between us like before that last kind of like curating stage and stuff, where I do think it ends up kind of working, even if like because a lot of our albums are super like, I guess all of our albums, or maybe at least the last two, are super kind of like frenetic and like switch crazy like all over the place and stuff. And I think it like with the themes given, like it totally ends up working to its benefit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Absolutely. I'm trying to. My problem is that I simultaneously want narrative that is compelling and interesting, and also complete absolute creative liberty for all of us. Those two things don't work out. They don't go hand in hand. But I'm trying to solve that.
Yeah. Well, that's the compromise thing.
Yeah, but that's like what the 10-year plan is to set up a narrative that allows us to do that. Like, to remain as free as possible, while still developing purpose and narrative and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's all the narrative stuff, but there's also like, I think we also just have a fun time making silly sounds.
Exactly.
That's partially of like what I was going to ask next is what does the sort of like conflict resolution process look like for music? If someone has an idea, you're like, this kind of sucks, I hate this.
It's very rare to have anybody in 6 gives me an idea that I'm like, I hate. Actually, it's to the point where, and anybody listening to this, frankly, if you work with anybody musically, I think more people need to learn to trust their collaborators. Even if you, like, I've had moments where Helvetica sends me something, or Script sends me something, or you send me something, and I'm like, I fucking despise this. Like, this is garbage to me. But I need to stop acting like opinion is king, and instead be like, okay, well, like, let's give this a chance. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe this is the way to do it. And I have found that every single time I've done that, actually every single time I've done that, I have been rewarded. If I'm just patient and I let something happen, in the future I will come back to something and I'll be like, well, like, this was incredible. Like, and I'm happy that I didn't let my sensibilities of the moment get in the way of it happening.
Is there an example of like a song that's been released where initially you had the kind of like not the best reaction to it and then it ended up being amazing? Or is it all like kind of like private demo type things?
Definitely, actually, let's sit and think. Because I like, that's the thing is, like, I've learned to like most of our material, if not all of our material, because of where it sort of sits in this thing I'm building. So it all kind of has purpose, but I think Toy Car I wasn't a fan of.
Really?
Yeah, I think I wasn't, but I think I really trusted you, so I was just like, let's go for it.
And now I think that's one of your like top 5 most streamed songs or something like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's a great one. We even like after like a certain point, I learned to like it like while we were working on it. We even went to like a toy store.
Oh yeah.
And recorded like a bunch of toy sounds.
We went to the Value Village.
Yeah, we hit up the Value Village.
So like we're like finding random toys, recording a little bit.
Yeah, there was a crazy Cars TV, like a Lightning McQueen television, where like the TV was like his mouth or something.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
It was insane.
Yeah,
we were kind of like,
TV, and we were like, we should get this. Like,
we didn't, but we were really wanting to get the Cars TV.
Did you use that on the song at all or no?
All the toy sounds, yeah.
When did you use the Lightning McQueen one specifically?
No,
there was no sounds it made. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was like a CRT TV or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we did use the in the bridge section where it's like toy car, and there's like all kinds of folly sounds. Those are all toys. Everything in there is like a toy.
There's random Value Village toys.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, there's other ones too, but I can't remember them.
That's the one that's coming to mind. Okay.
Yeah.
As Six Impala has progressed, it seems you've been constantly unlocking new tools for creation. Obviously, Nutra, your own custom vocal synth is the biggest example, but you two have both, since you started to learn to play guitar, you've been learning how to do harsh vocals a lot. How do you find that unlocking these new tools of creation sort of changes your approach to making music?
You wanna?
I think it's always important to like start from zero with something, because I don't know. I think a lot of the music there's some artists that I go back and that I'm like trying to do this without saying an example, but there's some artists where their like music was really good when they didn't fully know what they were doing, or they knew like a couple tricks.
You can always censor it and post
and
it
then
if you want.
once they got like good or whatever, their music started to become less interesting to me or something.
Okay.
And I think always if you're always like, I feel like everyone at Six Impala has done their 10,000 hours on the production end of things. So I feel like if we did strictly like, you know, in the DAW like producer album and stuff, like we could do that and it would probably be really good. But I think like starting from zero on something like guitar, or you know, doing different kinds of styles of vocals for the first time and stuff like that, I think like lends to more interesting art in general. So I always think in any kind of music that I'm involved in, at least, there always needs to be something where I'm like not confident about my ability in it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta like. I don't know. I strive to push myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be good at this because I love it. I love this. I very much love this. There's the show The Bear.
Yeah.
There's a scene where this guy is like chewing out a character, Richie, outside, and he's telling him like, you don't understand, like, I love this. Like, people come in here and they love what we do, and like they have a smile on their face. They like wait months to come in here. So he's like, I wake up every day and like I love this shit. And that's how I feel about music is it's a driver for me. I love it so much that hell yeah, I'll pick up a guitar 2-3 hours a day and sit on my couch with YouTube on and practice. And I don't know, I think there's like an interesting thing in the production world. Instruments aren't that hard. I know, like they really get presented as.
You're gonna
like,
give me some angry comments
I
on
know.
this video.
Go fuck yourself. They're not, to get into them and like the ability to play them. It's not that hard. I've tried to say that before in our community. Is like somebody, if you can learn how to make like crazy dubstep, you can absolutely learn to play the guitar.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing when you're learning how to like EQ and compress and mix and master and write and handle like arrangement and composition to such a like detail oriented degree, it's like that. Just like, I don't know, learn like 2 scales, move it up and down the fretboard,
Exactly.
get your finger calluses up, and like it's not that complicated.
It's like a work ethic thing.
Yeah.
It's not the instrument itself. It's like the drive to want to like learn it or something.
Yeah. I think one thing I will say about instruments that is apparent, like so apparent, the speed at which you can write is like 10x. Writing in MIDI is so much slower. It's
Sure.
awesome. Don't get me wrong. I've written a billion things in MIDI and I love doing it, but writing something on guitar is like, you just, do, and then you're like, there you go, there's a song. And
Or even like keyboard into MIDI or something.
Yeah.
If you know keyboard, then it's like you could just play it in. And
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, there it is. Like I didn't have to draw every single note. Like,
Mhm.
It helps a lot, I think.
there's actually there's a whole part of production that we never consider. If you start with production, you never consider it, but there's a whole part of the equation where you're like creating the sound. When you have an instrument, you
Yeah.
don't have to do that. The
Mhm.
sound, like guitars sound good.
Yeah.
It just sounds fucking good. So you can just pick it up, start fiddling around, and when it's recorded in the DAW, it sounds good out the gate. There's no like.
Because when you're making dubstep, it's like you're not worried about like the notes you're playing or whatever, because it's it's like the design of the sound itself that's like the marvel of it. But like, yeah, if you're starting with this sound that's like already really good, like all you're gonna focus on is like what you're playing and like the rhythm and the melody, and you're being like, oh, like this is cool or whatever. But I feel like dubstep is all like usually kind of very like one note and just different designs of sounds. So like getting out of that, I feel like it's like you unlock this whole other world, and then you can start from zero there and then work your way up.
Yes.
You can do that with everything. You can start with zero from everything and then work your way up. It's like great.
Nice. This next question is actually submitted from someone in the Six Impala Discord server. I didn't collect names, but you know who you are. Do you find that there are any...
I know who you are.
We have your IP address. We have everything.
Nutra knows.
Nutra hacked you. Do you find that there are any creative benefits or hindrances that come with translating your music to physical formats? Does the process feel artistically unique compared to releasing digitally?
It feels more tiring. Honestly. I like making music. I have a hard time making product. I could do it. But it can be tiring, honestly. I think there are parts of it that are exciting. Like, I think like the design of it, really fun. Like the cassettes, for example, outer case, inner case, you get a lot more opportunity to sort of explore like what you want to talk about. I think like managing the distribution release of it, all that stuff, not a fan. But
that's why you have labels. There are other people to do it for you.
Yeah, well, we don't, but yeah.
Well, this will release after like the vinyl from Cyan goes live.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I've really enjoyed working with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've definitely like, as I've said, like you've really made the process easier. It helps a lot having somebody who's passionate about that stuff, so that I can continue to focus on like the style and the art of it and stuff like that, the music. I find like if you're talking about like like the mastering, whatever, I don't really notice that much of a difference. I actually, maybe controversial take, I don't care that much about quality.
Same. Well, it's like, yeah, it goes back to like DJs being like, I can hear when you're not playing like a FLAC.
Yeah,
it's like no one fucking cares. Like I'm gonna rip it from SoundCloud. It's gonna be like 128 kilobucks or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's gonna sound great.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna love it, and they're gonna dance to it because it's music.
So that's what matters. Yeah.
Because
no
like
one cares about the quality.
Nobody fucking cares.
It's like I'll get test pressings and stuff, and I'll listen to them, and I'll be like, yeah, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, like I just make sure nothing sounds bad.
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's like it didn't. Yeah, I put the right version.
Unless it's like a notable like fuck up, you're like, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. I remember being in like grade 7, early YouTube days, early YouTube ripping. That shit was like warbly as hell.
Yeah.
But that's a whole era of my life where I was just listening to warbly, shitty music on my garbage Walmart MP3 player that was like a plastic thing with buttons on it. And I'm not interested in like invalidating how important those experiences were to me. Like, I don't want to pretend like because it was shit quality and I ripped it that it's any lesser.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Like, I think I love those things. I to this day, when I hear MP3 compression, I'm like, it takes me to waiting for the bus in the snow. Like, that's, I'm not going to remove that. That's just not going away. So.
Yeah. Okay. Also, I think if it's like if you listen to something at the, like, any level of quality, like the same thing, it's still like the same like song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the song.
The writing is what matters.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know, normal people in like a club or something are not gonna give a shit.
No.
If you're playing like you rip Poker Face off of YouTube instead of getting the fucking FLAC or something.
Yeah.
How often do you find yourself using like low quality audio files?
All the time.
I rip every
all the
song
time.
off
All the
YouTube,
time.
so,
Yes.
like,
all the time.
So like your Boiler Room set, was that like
a
a lot of SoundCloud rips?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
and everyone was dancing then, so yeah, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, nobody cares.
I think Six Finger Death Punch was a YouTube MP3. Like I think I ripped Six Impala songs off of YouTube or SoundCloud.
Yeah, I've
Like,
absolutely been like, I don't have this on my
I'm
computer.
not
Even though you
gonna
have,
fucking
like, access to the highest
drive,
quality
rip
one.
it off of YouTube.
Yeah.
It's
You're like, this works, they're gonna dance.
exactly.
Did the set last night have that, or was that all like the official
The
files?
set last night was all official stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, because it was all Six Impala stuff. For the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, I went through and rendered them all.
And also a lot of it was live too.
Yeah. But I will say, all of our songs contain probably some kind of rip samples.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what fucking data container I put it in. Like, the WAV file that says it's whatever quality.
Exactly.
It's got shit in
Still
it
shit
that's
quality.
like shit quality. Like, that's the funniest part
Yeah.
is I've known. I mean, we've had tons of people like this in our community who are, and I'm not necessarily saying like, I dislike if people do this. It's just not for me. But like, I've had like quality obsessed people like go through our stuff and like complain about that. But I'm also like, but at the same time, like, those are the reasons like people like those things. So
Poppy disagrees with you.
Poppy disagrees.
Poppy's an audiophile.
Flag.
Yeah, I've got a
Flag only,
audio file.
please.
Flag, wait,
Flag.
Yeah.
You ripped that shit on SoundCloud. You're fake. You're fraud. The Benadryl wore off.
Cutie.
Now you gotta rip like the audio from this interview and sample Poppy
Yeah.
for a song with like 128
Yeah,
kilobytes.
exactly. I mean, like, this is, I think tape recorder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know, what am I gonna get, like, mad at you because you didn't bring a high quality mic? Like, what? You know, like,
We didn't get it straight from the source.
Yeah. That's the tape quality, that's the worst physical quality.
Yeah, I get it though. Like I get hearing like a song in full quality, and you're like, oh my god, I can like hear all of the elements super well and stuff. But yeah, now at this point where it's like everything in the original song in the FLAC is like compressed to shit anyway. We're putting OTT on everything. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
it's like fine. Listen to it in any quality, and
Yeah.
it'll be like the same thing. I don't fully understand it, but I kind of get it.
I can understand, like, where it comes from, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
I'm much more interested in the diversity of quality than I am in the latter of it.
For sure.
Have you ever purposely like in Six Impala songs like made it lower quality?
Yeah.
Okay.
The portal sound in Wax, there's like a like this sort of magic sound that happens between each of the sections.
Mhm.
That is there's a tool called Lossy.
Yeah.
It's thank you for introducing me to it. It's a very useful plugin that like lets you just degrade the quality of a channel, and I use that in combination with some other processing, and you get this like really cool warbly magic, like.
There's a lot of lossy, like especially on "We Fucking Love You to Death," which is why I'm like,
You can't even tell. Like I made it shitty on purpose.
well, it's
Yeah.
like, why do you want flax of like hyper pop? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You want a flack of a
It's
song that
like
like blows out the
compressed
speakers
already.
on purpose?
Yeah.
Like,
like
that's funny. But I guess I want to talk a little bit about Six Impala as an entity now, because we mentioned this a little bit earlier. You guys originally started off as a collective, and then eventually with the Beast I Worship, you're like, all right, we are now a group or band or, whatever the final term that you ended up on. So what I wanted to ask is, how do you think that the dynamic of Six Impala, or how they're viewed, has changed over time when it comes to public perception? Because you originally started off like very kind of secluded almost in that SoundCloud community, but since then you've now got your fingers like in all different corners of the internet.
Yeah, I think what we are is a group that offers a unique experience on like a per release basis. And I think my job in the marketing department is to find anybody who's interested in that, which means I got to hit as many communities as possible, that where it makes sense. So we have a very diverse audience of like, so we come from SoundCloud, so there's that foundational SoundCloud listener, SoundCloud producer group form, right?
Mhm.
people coming up at the show yesterday saying like we've been listening to you since we were in middle school.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's I was like, that's insane.
Yeah.
I was probably in high school.
Yeah, because Six Impala as a
Yeah.
Six Impala as a band started in 2017. How long before that did you exist as a collective? Did that
I
start?
think it was like a year.
Like a year or so.
Okay.
Actually, no. I think we technically no. We started 2017 as a collective.
Yeah, and then
We
was it
became a band.
2018?
Yeah, we became a band on the release of Rubber, which was I think summer
Oh,
2018. Yeah. Yeah. We are now a large portion of our audience is like it's people from Newgrounds,
Oh, yeah.
Geometry Dash,
Mhm.
rhythm games and stuff like that, like Friday Night Funkin'. Also the Hyperpop Spotify playlist.
Mhm.
Anybody who's digging on Bandcamp, we've got like a pretty solid Bandcamp following too. Poppy.
Poppy.
Crazy. She got
Dogs.
picked up.
Poppy really hates Newgrounds.
Yeah. Poppy's not a fan. It's actually funny. It's kind of just like different parts of our audience like claim us, and it's funny to watch.
It is, because
Yeah.
we were playing the Tachyon in it last night, and I thought I was going to go way crazier, and I'm like, wait, it's like not Geometry Dash kids here. It's like
Yeah.
Form, like dubstep kids. I forgot. It's like a different
Yeah.
audience. Like, they're not all in one.
That was
same
the
thing.
part
Yeah.
I was the most hyped for last night, and I saw no one jump, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm like the one. Like this is my song.
I was jumping around all silly, and then someone laughed, and I was like, fuck.
Oh shit!
Like,
Not
I
fuck
was
what
like, I
they
was
think.
supposed to go. Yeah, I was like, y'all are supposed to go crazy for that.
Yeah,
Like,
this
what
is
happened?
like this is such a big song.
this
They're
is
like one of the
big-
heaviest
this is
ones,
our
too, that
biggest-
night. Yeah.
This is like the biggest thing.
Yeah. If any of you Geometry Dash players out there, we fucking
we
dropped
missed
that
you
shit
at
for
the
you.
show.
We dropped that shit for
Yeah.
you,
Wish
okay?
you were here.
You gotta drop it the next show. That way you could say, hey, Jump Stretch players, like, we're
Yeah,
dropping the
pull up.
Tachyon edit.
We're
Yeah.
trying to get the moment where we play Tachyon and you have a good time.
But then, like, Six Finger Death Punch, that's the one all the, like, dubstep kids went crazy for.
Yeah, that's the Form one. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm excited for. I can't talk about what at this stage. Unfortunately, I can't talk about like what our songs are in Friday Night Funkin', like what we're working on. But I'm excited for that community to crop up and start talking about us. And then we'll have another one, and then it's you just get all these different like, no, Six Impala is this, no, Six Impala is that, no, we're this, we're that. And I think that's where she comes in. She helps us handle that in a really entertaining way for everybody.
Yeah.
I think there's a sense of, I think the internet as a whole, it's a very argumentative, combative space, and I think we've embraced a bit of that energy, but we've made it fun. It's been, like, we're provocative for fun. It's almost like when somebody wants to get upset with what we're doing or is confused by what we're doing, it's kind of like you just
Like, you're not fun.
Yeah, everybody just points at them and laughs because it's like you
That's
missed
so
the point.
fucking fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know in previous conversations you've mentioned how you would rather someone, like, hate what you're doing than be indifferent towards it.
Yeah.
Is that, like, an ethos you're always going to hold, like, in every Six
Yeah.
Impala does?
Yeah, I think indifference is like it's crushing. Indifference is crushing because it means like I don't know, it means you did nothing. It means like you impacted somebody in a net zero way.
Yeah.
I would much rather like have an idea.
Because
Yeah.
it's like strong emotion no matter what. If they
Yeah.
love it or if they like really hate it or something. But if you elicit no emotion from it, then it's like, damn, like
Yeah.
what did I like what did I make?
Yeah.
Listening strong emotions from Poppy right now.
Yeah. A cutie.
What a cutie. What a guard dog. Tiny little guard dog.
I will say though, like the how diverse our audience has become, because I do think when we started and like around Rubber times and stuff, it was mainly all kind of SoundCloud people,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's become all these different things. It is really like all Cats doing pretty much. Like it's like Cats like has like this iron grip on the Discord and the Patreon in like ways I've never seen before. Like I'm subscribed to some other people's Patreons and stuff, and I'm like, they're not doing it like this.
They're not
know
like
what I mean?
that.
There's like
Thanks.
there's systems and stuff in place that Cat has so like diligently set up over the years and is like continuing to improve on and stuff. And then also just making those kind of like those forays into like Newgrounds and Friday Night Funkin' and stuff, like I wasn't part of that or anything, or like that was all kind of Cat's like spearheading, trying to diversify and stuff, and it like totally has like worked, I think. Or I don't know what the like Geometry Dash might have just like fucked with it. That might have been on accident or something.
That it was. I didn't. Yeah, like it kind of was an accident, but
Yeah.
it was. We started uploading to Newgrounds, and then there's always like a little checkbox when you upload where you can choose to allow your song to be used via the Newgrounds API, which just means like anybody who's tapped into that. I think it's like literally just Geometry Dash.
Yeah.
And some other
That's the only one I know.
small games. Yeah. They like you can pull songs from Newgrounds and use them in the game. And so one day I just noticed like there was a level called Layak on Helvetican song Bufu. And
Yeah, we're getting
so,
crazy views on that song. For
so
some
many
reason. We were
people-
like, what's going on?
Yeah,
All the
it's
John
like-
Dash kids are listening to it. Yeah.
they just started spamming the comment section with Layak, 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 Layak.
This is like made up word. What is that?
Yeah, so I had to like Google Layak.
Yeah.
And then I find this crazy, like, fully, like, insanely stylized Geometry Dash level with, like, crazy animated characters and, like, so much effort. And I think that was done by Enzor. And you should, this is absolutely a moment where I would feel so bad that we should, like, whoop, this,
Yeah. This is
these
cool.
people, hit me up and I'll get you all of the names.
We can edit a little
I-
like a thing at the bottom where it's
Okay.
like
Yeah.
who did the level.
I care about making sure these people are properly credited for that because that was a
Yeah, we got to
moment for us.
we got to enter like shout out portion of the interview.
Yeah, that's they should be credited.
You want to throw out any other shout outs right now while we're already there?
No, we're good.
You're good.
Yeah,
No more shadows.
yeah. No, yeah, that community as a whole is like has been very awesome. Thank you for the kind words. I think
No, I
like-
think I want it to be
Yeah.
like clear because I do think there's like it is like I want to maintain that there's like we all contribute obviously to what Six Impala is as a whole, but the sort of like inner machinations of the whole thing, both on creative and marketing, is pretty much all Cat. And,
Yeah.
And yeah, they're one of the most like kind of diligent and like hardworking people I know, just like out of like pure like love and drive for the thing and like the idea and stuff. It's like really, really admirable. But I think it's important to like state that in some way or another, so it's not like, so that it's like clear how Six Impala works and stuff.
yeah.
That's one of
I think a lot of people might just have the perception of like, oh, like being in Six Impala, it's like making music. But like I remember when I visited you in Toronto back in August, and you like showed me your setup. You were like coding 10,000 different programs for Six Impala, like making all these systems. It's like there's a ton that happens
It's
behind
unreal.
the scenes
Yeah.
that a lot of people I think just don't fully understand. It's kind of funny you mentioned earlier, how, like certain communities like claim you or something. Like, oh, Six
Yeah.
Impala's from John Trash or whatever. When it maybe in your mind you're like, you don't know like half the shit I do.
And
Yeah.
there's no manager, like there's no lawyer, like it's like all of this like it's all self-contained and it's just like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just us. It honestly it is. I mean, I'll own it. It's
Yeah.
like just me like spearheading
Mhm.
stuff. I really try to focus on letting you guys focus on like just the music
Mhm.
because I know one of the things I know is how to survive as a group.
Because at the start, like, I was editing, like, most of the videos and stuff. Like, it's like I had a lot more of a hand in it. And then at one
Mhm.
point, I think I just got a little, like, burnt out trying
Yeah.
to balance both and stuff. And, like, I feel like over time, we sort of learn what our strengths are and stuff. And, like,
Mhm.
where we can come in and, like, help and stuff. And I think, like, that's why, yeah. I mean, we've talked about a lot how it's, like, changed over time. But I feel like
Yeah.
now it's, like, I feel like the past couple albums, like the past two albums, I feel we've sort of hit kind of a point where we kind of understand what all of our roles are a little bit more, in not just the music, but like in like the Patreon and like YouTube stuff and like sort of all that.
Yeah, it's been. I kind of just noticed that I think in any other SoundCloud group, if the video editor was like, I'm burnt out on this, it would become like a fight. It'd become like a thing, and they'd fight over it. And I very early on, I learned this lesson because I've gotten into fights with bandmates before, and frankly lost one because of mismanagement. And I was like, I need to learn from this lesson. I need to learn that, like, we're gonna stop being passionate about certain parts of this, and that needs to be okay. We need to be able to move with that and not like force people into positions where they're uncomfortable. I think actually, if you're an avid watcher of Six Impala, I guess around the time this is releasing, we're probably in a bit of a drought, or just exiting a Six Impala drought where we haven't released stuff in a while. That's because I myself am becoming disinterested in the management of filling out forms and uploading shit to websites and making content and stuff like that. So I've been programming a system to handle that for me, which has been a big project, but I need to do that.
Yeah.
My chest hurts, my back hurts, my stomach hurts. It is a physical toll sitting there, because it can take us 3-4 hours to write something, but 2 to 3 weeks to develop the content for it and put it out, if not more. Like, all those cover arts for all those singles, like, I made like most of those. We at one point we had somebody we were working with who was doing some of them as well, but like, that's something to budget too.
Yeah.
There's a whole other part too. There's finances involved. I'm doing financing. Like, it's a big project. We run it independently, and you have to be realistic about stuff. So I've always focused on, like, when I can feel like you guys are busy in your own lives, I'm not like, okay, you need to fix your life so you can do more Six Impala. No, I'm like, okay, like, script is tapped right now because they're dealing with some shit, or Helvetican or something like that.
Yeah. But it's also like, I don't know, it's like a SoundCloud collective that hasn't died or something.
Yeah.
Every SoundCloud collective has, like, fizzled out and died or something. And I think it's just because, like, they stuck to, like, what the original thing of it was, and then, like, they couldn't keep to what the original thing was, so they were just like, well, we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're comfortable with how things change over time, you can make compromises and be, like, content at the end of the day with it, then you can form, like, you can, go, like, forever.
Yeah, you can sustain yourself.
Yeah.
I think actually Form is a good example of this.
Yeah.
I think Form is constantly, like, trying new things, and they're constantly pursuing new passionate ways to like be a community, like an art community. Like, we just did a live show, but we also do the compilation albums, and they do the storybook projects, and they do whatever else million events they do. I think being able to be fluid is just, like, super important, and I think that's what we've managed to capture, and I think it's why we're around, and we're going to continue to be around.
Yeah. 10-year plan.
Yeah.
10-year plan. It's going to keep going.
Yeah.
I guess now we'll shift into some more viewer submitted questions, a little bit more like rapid fire type questions. Favorite Skrillex song?
Oh.
If you have one. I know it's kind of a loaded question.
Actually, I'm going to take this opportunity. You can think on it.
Think on it, yeah.
So you will still, because I know I'm going to say this and somebody's going to catch me calling out favorites. I'm trying to detrain myself on ranking things and developing favorites. Mm-hmm. I think we are constantly putting things on a ladder, and I hate that. Mm-hmm. I think more things exist on a spectrum, or even on a palette, instead of on a ladder. So, like, yeah. I have a hard time being like, yeah, this is the number one.
I love ladders. I love ranking.
I hate that.
Do you have, like, a number one? Is it too hard to pick?
I think, well, my favorite, like, song from him is Turmoil, but that was, like, before Skrillex. But that's, like, become a basis for, like, everything. But it always changes, like, so I get the thing.
Like, in a week you might
That's
have
what I mean.
It's not going to be my favorite forever, but right now it's, like, definitely rocking with Turmoil.
I think
the original.
Do you maybe have one that you think, like, had the most influence on you in your youth? Like, when you originally discovered
I can
it?
say, okay, not a favorite, but I can give you, like, Still Getting It with Foreign Beggars.
That's crazy.
I shot so many hockey pucks to that song. Like, I used to have a washing machine in my backyard that I would shoot hockey pucks into.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
That's training?
Yeah, it's training. Like, so
Wait, that's sick.
So I could, you could get them in.
Is that like a normal thing?
Yeah.
Do like most hockey players have like washing machines?
Not necessarily the washing machine, but it was a thing that, like, some have done before. And so my dad was like, this
like a
thing's
target.
toast. Do you want it as a target?
Wow.
Because the benefit of it is that it catches the pucks.
Yeah.
And so when you're done, you could just like scoop them out into a bucket and then bring it back.
That's sick.
Yeah. So, yeah, I used to just like shoot pucks for hours in the backyard, listening to that.
That song is on loop.
Yeah, that and X-Core's Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Shout out X-Core.
there are so many Skrillex songs that have like so many different little, like meanings to me. Again, that's why I think ladders just misrepresent things, and that's why I dislike them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always like, oh,
So in general, you
this
think of it
song
like
is
this
good.
big blob of like influence and
Yeah, I'd like
appreciation.
to. I'm much more like, here's like a collection of things. I find it much more interesting, and I find it paints a better story. Like, Still Getting It's a good one. I think Kill Everybody is like such a, on a production level, is like flawless. I think it's maybe like a flawless song.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think more recently, strangely, nobody really talks about this one, but like Would You Ever, I think, with Pooh Bear.
Whoa, crazy.
I love that song.
Yeah, that's a really good song.
If you slow that song down like crazy, it's so pretty.
I bet. It's a pretty song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I haven't heard anyone talk about that.
Yeah.
It's like,
nobody ever. Yeah, people forget it
Yeah.
exists, but I'm like, no,
it's
this is
a
a good
Pooh
song.
Bear song.
Yeah, but it's good. Pooh Bear went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Skrillex was my first concert. Mothership 2014.
Is that like your mind blown at that one?
Yeah, he played two dates back to back, and
Both?
I went to both.
Whoa.
We went to Toronto. My brother bought the tickets. We went to Toronto, stayed overnight, went and saw it, and it was all ages. So I was like 17. Blew my ears out. Like my ears were ringing.
You didn't have earplugs?
No, I didn't. I didn't know any of that. I just went to a concert and it was insanely loud. But I had the time of my life. I lost my phone in the VIP section. I had to hop the fence, and all the VIP people yelled at me and were like trying to throw me over the fence. And I was like, I'm trying to get my phone.
Cat gets arrested at Skrillex story.
No. I made it out.
Okay.
They were all old heads. They couldn't hop the fence. This was the VIP section.
So as soon as you hopped it, they're like, you're gone.
Nobody actually buys VIP because they're VIP. It's just like a place where you can drink and sit. Frankly. But really, a really impactful thing that happened at that concert was, I remember Skrillex talking about the Mothership tour and talking about how all of it was possible because he just got together with people who were passionate about it, and they crewed up, and they just worked hard, and they just poured their all into it. And then he was saying, like, if you find people who are like you and they have the like the same passions as you, like, hold on to them dearly and like do something. Like, you can do something. We did something. Like, he was basically saying, like, we did this, like, you can do this. And that was so big for me as a 17-year-old, like, trying to figure out what I was wanting to do with my life. I left that concert and told my brother, this is what I'm doing.
Not like the deciding moment.
Yes, so I was walking across the bridge from Echo Beach to
This was in
back to the
Toronto still,
mainland.
right?
Yeah, and I was literally like, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm doing this.
That's sick.
And unapologetically went home and like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to be a musician. You have to deal with that. And thankfully I have wonderful parents who they weren't upset about it. They were like, okay.
That's
But
nice.
It was decided there.
So I guess you explained you don't really have like rankings of ladders, like favorites or least favorites. But in the context of Six IMPALA songs, do you have certain songs that you're maybe like more proud of than others, or maybe ones where if you could go back, you might change it a little bit?
I think we hit something crazy with Eardrum, I'm not gonna lie.
Same.
Like you're super
think
proud
that
of your
was,
drum?
like-
Okay.
Well, that was just like a kind of new kind of song, I think, that we hadn't really done before or something.
Yeah.
That I just think it has like 3 of us on vocals, and I think it's all like, it feels very like it's synergetic or whatever the word is. I don't know.
Synergetic.
I just remember that, like, when we wrote that song, I was like, oh shit, like we were like,
It felt like a moment.
we hit something crazy, like
Yeah.
we hit like a crazy pocket or something.
Yeah, it felt very fresh.
Yeah.
It felt very us. It felt very, because the song is, like the instrumental isn't actually too complex. It sounds way more complex than it is because it's like it's a guitar loop with like a drum loop, and like a cool bass stab. But like the thing that makes the song sound crazy and chaotic is that we sampled like a bunch of our songs. I just created like this like 16 bar, 8 bar loop of like a bunch of different random samples.
Nothing.
Yeah. Exactly. The one that's like nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's just like a ton of other Six Impala songs just kind of thrown together.
Those are all different like demos and songs that we've written, that I sampled and just put over top. And then, yeah, vocally it's awesome hearing like each of us get a moment. I feel like Black Eyed Peas.
Your vocals for me, like when I first heard your vocals for the first time, I was like, holy shit! Like this is like, because it I don't know. I think I've heard your I had heard your vocals in like other contexts before, but in that context, I was like, oh my god! Like it's like
thank you.
It's like perfect. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I found a tone on that one. That was like right around like when I started doing vocal lessons, I think, or at least like before I made the decision to officially dive into that. Actually, talk about shout outs. I have to give a shout out to my vocal coach Ocean.
Shout out Ocean.
We did we actually did like an online practice session before the show.
She's
just
so fire.
Ocean fucking rocks. Yeah. Ocean is such is a mentor for me. Actually, any advice I could give to anybody who wants to be a musician, go find a mentor. Don't be such a master about shit. Go like find somebody who knows what you want to do and just be a student. Like don't go into it being like, oh, I've been making dubstep for 10 years. I know what I'm... No, go find a theater kid.
Exactly.
That's what I did.
Let loose.
Yes. Yeah. So it was a great time.
This question I stole from Chris Deering, who is another podcast like host type guy who does the Cast Ends creation. But favorite way to dress a hot dog?
Oh.
Just mustard.
Just mustard, nothing else.
Hot dogs are one of my favorite things.
I mean, I love mustard too, but you need like something else on there.
Well, I'm not. I don't like putting on. I just feel like putting on extra, like anything extra, is like a disgrace to the hot dog.
Interesting.
So it's about respecting the hot dog.
Yeah, it's about respecting the hot dog. I don't want no onions or anything.
Like, okay.
Like I feel like I do like relish sometimes. I think for a while I would put ketchup on it, like for principle. But the last couple of years I've just been
because you felt like you were being judged for not putting ketchup on.
Yeah, and now I've just been taking it off, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is so much better. Yeah.
Damn.
Living your true life.
But I respect it. I'm very much like I like multiple different kinds of hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
I think my absolute like go-to is a ketchup mustard mayo and then a hot banana pepper. Like on there. I used to go when I played hockey as a teenager, my dad and I, we would every arena that we played in the region, which is a lot of them, like 30 to 50 arenas.
Oh wow!
They always would have hot dogs.
What's like the furthest you've ever had to drive for a hockey game?
Or go? Like I played a tournament like 8 hours away.
8?
Wow.
Damn.
From my house or something like that.
Because you told me this before. You were like a good hockey player. You were like, what was the like thing you were in? Like the
I was a call up for AAA. I started late. I'm not. I mean, anybody watching this who's like a hockey player is gonna be like, "Lol, call up for AAA." I never made it to any actual professional level, but I was. AAA is like the highest level that you can play at as a youth under 16, and I made it to call up for that when I started late, and it's because I worked really hard to grow past everybody who had been playing for like a decade before I started. And I learned a lot of stuff there. I had a coach called Nancy Gruel and Don Gallardi. They both kicked my ass. They kicked my fucking ass. And I learned discipline through them. And that has been, honestly, this is a crazy thing to say, but I think Six Impala probably wouldn't have survived if Nancy Gruel and Don Gallardi didn't kick my ass.
It's a very not like movie, but like kind of like you had to go through the shit.
I did.
And then you came out with this crazy work.
I literally
did. And then that's like informed like your like creative life from there on.
Like to give you an example of like what the training was like. So I used to do like daily training with all kinds of different trainers because I was aspiring to play professionally. I grew up in a very competitive region. Niagara is one of the highest talent pools for hockey. So that's another reason why I was like, well, I'm in a talent pool. So I pursued that really hard. It was my life. Every day, every night, off ice, on ice. Off ice training is crazy. You like skating treadmills,
Washing machines,
stuff like that. Shooting in washing machines, yeah. Before school, like on Thursdays in high school, I would get up at 4 a.m, go to a rink and train with Nancy. But like one of the drills we would do is you know how to do the plank, where you like basically sit in a push-up position. It was like that, but you had to plank walk. So you're in full hockey gear and you're in a plank, and you have to plank walk from one end of the like one board to the other, and then you have to do it backwards. And the way her courses were structured was like she'd make us all do it, and then we'd race to do it. And I had attended her courses long enough where I was beating everybody. And the first time I did that, like I was like, oh yeah, I crushed it. And she's like, oh, sick! Like you did it. You crushed everybody. You came in first. Go again. I'm gonna make you do it twice now.
Wow.
Nobody else had to do it twice, but I had to do it twice. And it was because she was pushing me.
Yeah.
And
she's like, you can't get an ego about this shit.
no, literally, she was like,
again.
she was like, yeah, if you
Just
think
because
you're
you're
good.
on top doesn't mean you can sit around.
Actually-
You gotta go back and you gotta work harder
Actually.
than everyone else.
And it was like, when you're in that kind of an environment, you learn to appreciate the work itself. And that has been, like, my super weapon. It has been the thing. I don't think I'm naturally good at things when I first try them. I think I suck at things when I first try them. I think I often flop like crazy. It's why, for this show, I had to practice a lot. I practiced a lot for months leading up to the event. Because I knew, I was like, there's no way I'm going to get on there without practice and naturally do well. So.
But you're the best person I know at picking up things. And I feel like it's like, yeah, it's like half the insane work ethic and then half just like, I feel like you have an like innate desire to like try new things.
Yeah.
Which I think is like coupled together. It's just like Kat's doing everything. Kat's like animating and like coding, and this is all like stuff that I feel like you only started in like the last couple of years or something.
Yeah.
It's like you're already gotten super good at it. And, like,
Thank you.
yeah, I feel like that's all part of it.
Yeah.
I want to get the timeline right. So you said you were like trying to go pro in hockey. Were you like trying that, and then you went to the concert and like, fuck hockey, it's all music now?
No,
It's like a middle ground.
I
between
quit
that?
hockey before going to the concert.
Oh, okay.
So, the concert was like I think it might have even been like my brother got it, and it was sort of like a turnaround moment where I had just finished explaining to my parents after we put so much time and resources. Because my parents sacrificed too, driving me all around, like, every single day. Like, I'll acknowledge that too. Like, they sacrificed a lot for that. And they were not stoked when I was like, yeah, I'm giving up hockey. But they still, like, trusted in me and believed in me. And shortly after that, I was still kind of feeling down because literally my whole life was hockey. I even sacrificed like my social life to a point. So I even had like minimal friends and I didn't really know like what I was doing at that point. My brother was like, "You love this Skrillex dude. Let's go to this concert," and we did. And it was like, bam! Like I had been doing production up to that point because I loved it and like I definitely was super invested in music as like a thing I loved. Like I did projects at school when I got to choose stuff. I would pick like, oh, I want to talk about Skrillex's life in the PowerPoint or whatever the fuck. But then, seeing him live was like the definitive moment because I was just like, I'm young enough where like this is the perfect moment for me to just decide.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So I guess you talked about how your parents were like supportive of like your musical career, but I'm curious, do they actually like listen to Six Impala?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they listen.
Do you know if they have favorite songs? Like your mom texts you one day like, I love this song so much, you did so good.
My parents listen to my projects and they support what I do. I don't necessarily know if they have a favorite or if they go back and listen to my stuff. I think honestly their favorite songs of mine will probably be stuff that nobody's ever heard in the public.
Like the unreleased demos.
Like for Mother's Day last year, I did a recording of House of the Rising Sun for my mom, and that's her
Aw.
favorite.
Oh.
So,
That's cute.
Yeah.
What about your Paul? Do your parents like listen to like either solo music or Six IMPALA music?
I think my parents listen to my solo music, and I think my dad has listened to Six IMPALA, but I don't know if he likes it.
You listen to EARWAX like, April, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's some of it where it's like my dad was like, did music too and stuff before I was born,
Oh, okay.
and was like super into rock and stuff. So I feel like there is like crossover.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, he's able to see where we're coming from and stuff. But
Yeah, because you started
I don't
playing
think
music
he
like
puts
a.
it on, you know. What I mean?
Yeah.
It's not bumping it in the
That's what I
car or
mean, like, I don't
anything.
think my dad's-
My dad's not bumping Six IMPALA like in
Yeah.
the car and stuff.
If only.
Yeah.
Another viewer submitted a question here. What is the most important thing when it comes to working with other artists? And does that process look unique compared to like just solo Six IMPALA stuff?
Like when we work with other artists,
Yeah, like when you're doing like a collab. Or
they need to
something.
be open-minded.
Yeah, they gotta.
They have to be. I
Okay.
remember.
But it's like when they are, I feel like it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Manon.
Then it's gonna
Yeah,
get crazy.
Manon.
Manon was one of the
Specifically-
funnest people ever to work with. We
Shout
owe Manon more music. We've been so busy, but we will be working with Manon again in the future because Manon hit us up and was like, "Hey, we want to work with you." And we get a lot of those. We get so many people who hit us up and are like, "We want to work on music," and sometimes I'm mutually interested in something they offer, but I don't know them. So I've learned to not waste my time, and I don't mean any offense by that, but to not waste my time putting so much work into it. And I will send like demos. I'll be like, here's something.
Mhm.
If you want to work on this, give a shot on this. Like I'll give them an idea. Like, well, I'm looking for this on this demo. If you can do that, we can turn it into something.
Okay.
I sent some shitty, like we made like a quick. It was like literally like a 5-minute demo we were fucking around with one day in a
Yeah.
Discord call, and you had
The
like a
metal
nice
one
like
was?
guitar
The
thing,
guitar, yeah.
and I took that and I made like a shitty
We
like
chopped it
drum
up
beat.
and-
Yeah, and I was like, this is whatever. And then Manon hits me up. It's like, hey, I want to work with you guys. I sent that to her, and I was like, can you scream on this? If you can scream on this, like
Is that
we'll
the
make
exact
something
message?
work.
Just can you scream on this?
Yeah, and that's right around the time where I discovered Otoboke Beaver, and was like, your voice is in like a similar range as these people, but you're not screaming at all. Like, do you want to try screaming?
We were unsure because like I feel like a lot of the like Mana music that was out that we had listened to was like a little more like I think it was a little more like pop leading.
Yeah,
or what,
that's-
at the very
that's
least
more
it
pop.
wasn't what like we ended up making and stuff.
Yeah, very very pop oriented, and I think that's cool, but it wasn't really what I was wanting at the time. So I just said that, and I wasn't expecting much because again, this was a person I didn't really know, but Manon put her all into that, and that was inspiring. Like hearing her raw recordings of her trying to scream when she had not been screaming before, I was inspired, and I had already been. Funnily enough, I think the first song that came out with my screaming on it was Troll Me, but that wasn't my first scream. Hate X6 is actually where my first screams come from. That song had already been in development, and I've been working on my vocals in private, like we hadn't released it yet. And then Mana sent me that, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna scream on this song too. And then we just like wrote the whole thing
Nice.
because it was just so inspiring.
Seeing someone with like no like screaming or traditional screaming abilities, like going ham at it, like
Yeah,
giving it
just
a
go-
go.
gotta try.
Just going like experimenting and stuff, and going for something like
From zero.
It was just like Manon's ability to like just experiment with like different ranges of her voice and stuff, like on the song. I think was just like so like we were like okay, like that's like it's gonna be a great like collab. 'Cause
And it
it's,
was.
like,
It's a
the
great
same
song.
kind of like
Yeah.
willingness that we have to like just go in this like try new things and stuff. That we
Mm-hmm.
don't like aren't super like well versed in yet or something. Like and I feel like it just worked really well. But yeah, I feel like that's the thing with Six IMPALA is I think like any collaborators have to kind of match our ethos probably
that's the most important things that they match the ethos.
I think it's the most important thing.
Okay.
I think it matters probably even less like what their music or voice sounds like or something.
Okay.
I think it's maybe just
It's a mentality thing.
Yeah, I think it's mainly a mentality thing because I feel like we've had a lot of people that we would have been like excited to work with, but like may not have the willingness to like try some new shit or something.
They're like, I want to make a song that sounds like this specific thing, and you're like, well,
yeah.
I don't know.
And it's not like we're impervious to that. Like I feel like we always
Yes.
take a lot of risks and stuff. Like I feel like Thank You for the Octopus is probably our most like recent thing where like I think the both of us were like, are we I don't know, like are we sure we should? And I think we like put it out, and I felt like it was like a really I don't know. I go back to that song. I'm like, wait, this is like sick. Like,
Yeah,
it was
it's
definitely
so
like
good.
very.
Like,
It took me aback when I first heard the album. I was like, this is very different.
it's like a huge risk. Yeah, yeah, that one's a risk because it's like no processing, like no auto-tune on the voice. It's just like pure like raw. Like I was going into places with my voice where I was like, what am I like? It's like this is like.
They're like hit spots you didn't know existed. You're like, this is.
Wait, there's auto tune on the one part where you're like, "Thank you very much."
Yeah, except that.
Yeah.
Well, that there's no auto tune except for the one that is very overtly auto tune.
Yeah, exactly. We were, I think like I think being in that moment is the perfect example of like the mentality is we're both like, I don't know if this works.
Yeah.
But then I think I said, we're Six Impala.
Yeah.
We're fucking doing it.
For sure.
And that was it. And that's sort of the mentality you have to have is like, we are explorers. We're exploring shit. You're going to hit gold sometimes. You're going to hit shit sometimes. And that means that like, you just gotta go for it.
Yeah.
So
Do you consider yourself to have like an official like stated motto or like thesis or anything like that? Or just sort of like that push the
probably
boundary?
not like
to Six Impala.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thesis of the
Whoa.
band. Whoa. Yeah, Nutrient been like not contributing that much.
Yeah, what have you done?
What have you done?
Everyone was saying Nutra died at the concert. Oh my god, Nutra died.
Guys, cardboard.
Guys.
The doc.
Well, okay,
right.
okay. That's actually not Nutra. That's actually a cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nutra was originally planning to come, and then she's like sent this to us in the mail.
Yeah.
Like bailed.
She's not of this earthly plane.
No, she's not. She couldn't be here with us physically, but she did her best.
Did her best. One of the pit for Ultra Instinct.
Mm-hmm.
You fucked her up.
Yeah.
That was funny.
That was very good.
Yeah, I watched the video back. It like decked her.
I did. I
It was, like,
fucking punched
crazy.
her. I punched her. I needed to make it very clear
Yeah,
that
like,
everyone.
everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy because you said somebody because you were there and you said like somebody was like I don't know if I'm like
Someone like went towards it and like kind of backed up a little because like I don't know if I'm like supposed to punch her right now
Yeah.
because they heard the fucker up like is that what they meant like
yeah. I thought "fuck her up" would be very clear, and then I was like it's not clear enough. And I hearing the song, I was like I don't have time, so I just jumped in. I just jumped in and started.
and then she got ripped in half and
Yeah.
then people like she only got ripped in half initially and then like people were just like shaking her during parts of the other songs
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
That was a really fun night.
It was a good time. I'm very happy with how that was all planned.
Yeah, that was literally like so perfect, and it was
Yeah.
like because I wasn't sure what material was gonna like rip the best. And
We
stuff.
thought it was gonna be like too strong to
I
destroy
did,
it
I
first.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of worked. Like the ideal situation was that we would put Nutra in the pit for Ultra Instinct, then we'd tear like she'd get a little like banged up or something, and then for Sweet we'd throw her back in, and then everyone would be like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then that's kind of what everyone did, and then a ton of people came up and were like, "Can you sign this?"
Yeah.
It was kind of perfect.
We're signing like the little piece of like the
sign
back
a little
stand
piece.
Yeah.
part.
Like,
Signed her toes or her tie. I think we talked about that a bit earlier.
I think having the cardboard cutout was a really fun moment, especially when you see like holding them, especially like, for Eardrum when all three of you are doing vocals, like for Nutra, like holding the mic up to Nutra, like
Yeah.
sing that shit, Nutra.
Yeah, that's a good time. Honestly, a very fun stage prop.
yeah,
Like I felt like while I was on stage, I felt like you know what I actually have some fun ideas
No,
with
for
this.
real.
Like I was able to like there's one moment where I was able to like hide behind her and like
yeah, definitely elevated the show.
yeah, it was a good time. I loved the reaction. And everybody when Nutra came
That
out,
was
Oh,
crazy.
that was
People
fun.
were
everybody was like,
screaming.
"Nutra!" Oh,
Because
that
we
was
milked
so
that
cool.
shit too.
Because like yeah, it wasn't announced
Yeah.
before.
Like,
It was like there she is.
we were waiting in the
Yeah.
hallway for like 2 minutes. Like
Yeah.
it was like
Yep.
And I guess the last question I'll ask y'all to wrap it up, if you are able to, any spoilers to LP4? One fan in specific, or like one Discord member asked if you could use 3 words to describe LP4, or like what it might look like.
Led by Helvetican.
Okay.
Not a word, but
That's 3 words.
3. That's 3. You're done. 3 phrases if you want. When you say, I
Green.
guess first I'll ask, when you say led by Helvetican, do you typically have like leaders for albums? Like, was EARWAX like a certain person's kind of leading it?
honestly, it's kind of worked out a bit like that. I think we fucking love you to death. We work together
Yeah.
a lot
I was
closer.
super in on that one.
Yeah, I think EARWAX was actually me and Script working a lot,
Okay.
and I think the Flux. There's the name.
That's so perfect.
Yeah.
Is this the announcement of the
Yeah.
name of LP4?
So we'll say led by Helvetican.
Okay, good, because we gave out that like track list last night. I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
no.
oh my god, the name is on.
It's okay.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
copies of the set list right here. You can see in camera. A Flux demo is one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess now this is the official reveal of the LP4 name.
Well,
Crazy.
we've already revealed it on Patreon. So.
Okay.
okay.
The official public reveal. Then.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be a Flux, Green, and led by Helvetican. Don't take that as it's all techno,
Oh, yeah.
it's all breaks. No.
Do you want to talk about the 6 Finger Death Punch creation process at all? Because I remember that was like kind of a thing.
Six Finger Death Punch creation process.
What I remember, at least like when the form thing came out, a lot of people were saying like this is like a Helvetican song, but weren't they the only
yeah.
members?
It was just us.
Yeah.
Us and Nutra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Us and Nutra. We got the vocals.
Mhm.
She sent us the acapella first. She made it clear what her intent was.
Very clear.
And then we had this song, Deep Down Inside, right?
Yeah.
Deep Down
It was
Inside.
like some SoundCloud edit of it that Skrillex played in this.
Yeah, in
But Skrillex
the
played it way faster.
the
like,
Dog Blood set.
Yeah, and in the Dogwood set. But I
Yeah.
think they played it at like 128 and 140 or something, and like the original is in like 110.
Yeah.
And we were listening to that being like, well, it's really fun if you nightcore it.
I think they 150'd it. I think
yeah,
it's like
yeah. Some
fast.
shit like that. And then we would mess with it and be like, oh, like it sounds really good at 160.
Yeah.
We should make a song that's like meant to be nightcored.
Yeah, like so
Like-
it's like Six Finger Death Punch is specifically written so that you can pitch it up and speed it up,
Yeah.
and it still sounds good.
But that was also for all nighter, so that was made in
Mhm.
like 10 hours or something.
6 hours.
6 hours, really?
Yes, and that's not
No way,
that's
really?
not for the bit. It was 6 hours.
Oh my god, I didn't
Yes.
know that. Hell
It was
yeah.
6 hours. I remember telling you. I remember being like, we wrote that song in 6 hours.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then
How
you were
much-
like, shut up. It wasn't 6 hours. And I was like, it was 6 hours. You can believe me. And you were like, no, you're just saying that because it's the funny. And I was like, no, it was 6 hours.
Did you start it with the intent of like I'm gonna do this shit in 6 hours?
No,
No.
it's just
Okay.
I think
Because it was all nighter 6, so whatever we did, it was gonna be an all nighter 6.
yeah.
And then it ended up being track 6. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had also been
Well,
wanting
it
to.
was always gonna be track 6.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It was always.
we would have yelled at them if it wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they might have yelled at us.
Yeah.
If we wanted to make a song of that, this maybe the rare example of us being like genre oriented in a song.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
that song, the song by not Pump, but the
Lick it.
Deep Down Low.
Okay. Yeah,
I think
Deep
Lick
Down
It is
Low.
also.
Deep Down Low, and then
Yeah.
there's the one part in Turn Off the Lights, the Dogwood song, where it gets
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
distorted, and I think we're just like, yo, let's like,
Yeah.
let's distort the second drop.
Yeah. And I
It
think
was 6 hours though. Give us a break.
yeah, we cranked through it. I think because we had just had like pent up energy for making a song like that. We
Mhm.
were like for so long we were like
yeah,
we
no,
need to
for
make a song
real.
like this.
Yeah.
And then when the moment came, we're like, okay, this is let's get it. Fun fact about the distortion sequence in that too, it'll sound different on different devices, because
Okay.
it's actually clipping sub 20 hertz, and different systems will handle that differently.
Whoa, crazy.
So like on Newgrounds, the crunchiness is different than on SoundCloud than on
That's
YouTube.
It's almost like a way to like trick those like audiophiles who are like you're playing it like the wrong
Yeah.
like audio. It's like no, it's just
Yeah.
a different system than you're
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, now that makes me curious. How often, because 6 is such a relevant number to the band, how often in your real life you're like walking downtown Toronto, you're like seeing 6 like everywhere? Like, taking notes of it?
Yeah, I mean, being a part of being the person who writes the narrative and also has conceptualized the like, hi puppy.
Right.
Sorry, I thought the dog was gonna.
She's
pull
like
out.
pulling in and out of like being mad and not.
It's a useful number.
Yeah.
It's just a useful number, and I think working with it all the time and developing our current like setup and the way that it's all the perspective of it, I do see it all the time. it's almost comedic when it happens, and it's kind of like a weirdly, you know, that like irony scale that's like irony like inverts on itself over and over again.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like that, like where I flip over time in a progressive way between like, oh, this is just circumstance, or like, oh man, this number really is haunting me, and there's no way to to gauge that. It's hard to describe, because I will go to a diner and we'll get a check that is like $6.60 or something, or like I will, I don't know, do something, try to look for something, and then it's like, oh, that thing is on channel 6 on the TV or
It's
something
literally
like that.
cheesy.
Yeah, like sometimes it just happens, and you're just like it's kind of freezes you a bit.
Oh my god, that reminds me, I forgot who I was talking to. I think it was someone outside the venue who referenced, they said they wanted to like buy Cheetos, like throw them at you on stage.
Hell
the
yeah.
cheesiest reference.
That'd be so sick.
That would have been funny, but I think the venue would be like, why are you bringing food in here?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time to interview with me. It was really fun.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Of course, and make sure to check the links below for interview about the rubber vinyl, and also I'll link stuff like their Patreon, their Discord, their social medias, you know, all that good stuff. You can find it all in the description. You didn't end up using your fidget during the interview.
Yeah, I did.
A little bit.
It's kind of like this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed.
And we'll see you in the next video.